What is the most $1 has ever gotten you? Did you know Dollar Tree carries condoms? To answer your question, a son. My brother was behind a woman buying a pregnancy test at the 99c only store, and she turned around and told him never to buy condoms there. The cheap pregnancy tests are actually perfectly fine though. Once bought a beer for €1. Turns out you get a raffle ticket with each drink. Long story short, I won a surfboard. What did you do with a surfboard? Trade it for beer. Starks. Bought an interesting looking silk blouse at a pay-by-weight Goodwill outlet. $0.99 per pound. So was less than $1. Technically, since it weighed mere ounces. Semicolon. Turned out to be rare vintage Versace. Sold it for around $700. Nice. A hell of a come up. I'm hunting. This is fucking awesome. A wife. I signed up for a river tour in a foreign country. It cost me an extra $1 to ride in the first boat leaving. Didn't want other boats in the way of my photos. Met someone on that boat who later introduced me to her cousin. Been married 8 years. Lucky, the wife I bought for $1 went back to Russia with my entire Beanie Baby collection last week. Dude, you only paid $1 to get rid of a Beanie Baby collection. You made off pretty good. Those babies were gonna be worth millions someday. When I was 16, my aunt and uncle wanted to give me an old hand-me-down car that both my cousins used when they first got their licenses, but because of tax purposes, it made more sense to sell the car to me. I bought my first car for $1. It's for insurance. I'm pretty sure you need to buy the car to put it on your insurance. I bought a cookie for $1 at a bake sale. Didn't really want it later on. Gave it to a lady I worked with. She loved me for it. I was her favorite after that. That lady was my asshole of a boss. Best $1 ever. I was expecting a porn plot, but I got wholesome employees instead. The way this thread is going, I expected him to get the lady pregnant. €1, not $1, but still. About 5,000 low quality earplugs. They do the job fine. I still have like a 100. I don't know where the rest went. Have you checked your ears? AWW. Man. This was in my opinion better deserving of anything than my reply. Thanks so much. IDK what I shall do with my newfound access and power, but I'm sure it will be something mediocre at best. What do I do now? I can't choose one from among these awesome replies. What? Have you checked your ears? Oh, I could totally wreck a beer right now. But our prices have never been lower. I found a huge book at this hole-in-the-wall thrift store. It basically diagrams and explains everything about how an automobile works, but it was printed in the early 80s, so pretty out of date. However, it still taught me quite a bit, and I'm essentially invulnerable against mechanics trying to fuck me. The knowledge was worth way more than $1. It's not outdated. If you buy a car from the early 80s, hell, you'd even be able to maintain it yourself. Better break out the spools of vacuum hose. I won $40 off of a $1 scratcher once. That was an awesome surprise. I won $100 off a $2 ticket. It was from Chicago while I was on a band trip, so I suddenly had souvenir and snack money. Good time. Nice. Next time someone asks what the coolest thing you've gotten with $2, you should tell that story. I was working retail, and one of the old ladies who used to come in and look at the TVs in my department while they waited for it to be time for the bus back to their independent living facility came over all faint. She asked if I had anything sweet she could have. I got a Coke from the drinks machine in the break room and she drank it slowly, holding onto my arm. My manager had called her an ambulance and they loaded her up and took her away. Diabetic. The EMT said that Coke was just the thing for her and slapped me on the back. I still remember her little wave as she left. She lived. I didn't save her life or anything, but that dollar made the difference between her getting into the ambulance conscious and with dignity versus unconscious and sick. She said later, when I visited her at the hospital, that she might have had to move from independent to assisted living without it. So that was a good $1. Best soda I never drank. This is amazing. You say you didn't save her life, but who knows? You could have done. If she'd have slipped into a diabetic coma or something, there's a chance they might not have been able to get her back. Well done you. You should be mega proud of yourself. A friendship. and NBSP. To clarify, I live in Europe and we actually don't have dollars here. Duh. When I came back from New York I had some dollars left and had them in my wallet still for a long time. Even when I forget about them from time to time. Once I was talking to a girl I met and started talking about America. She had never been there and I remembered that I had $1 in my wallet. I gave it to her and she was really happy. Still talking to her to this day, only a bit less than we used to, but safe to say I can call her a friend of mine. $1 for a friendship is definitely worth it. When I was in high school I lived near a grocery store that sold packs of 10 cookies for $1. On the few occasions I had $1 to spare, my parents were very reluctant to give me money unless it was for school. My favorite thing to do was go there after school/sports practice, buy a pack, and eat them on the swings at the nearby playground. A couple years ago, I was back home for the holidays and decided to recreate the tradition for old time's sake, to remember a simpler time in my life. At this point, I was late in college with a steady job, thus, I could easily afford to spend $1. I went to the same store, bought the same type I always did, located the same swing in the same park I always sat on, and prepared for a nostalgia overload. And let me tell you, the cookies were terrible. If you have the means, treat yourself better than 10-cent cookies. This is the precise reason why I won't recreate my middle school weekends a $5 giant can of Monster, $4 2-pound box of mini brownies, followed by hyperactive nausea while biking on hiking trails. Living that pure Kyle life. I would be shocked if you/_ph_ isn't named Kyle. I'm not, but there was a Kyle in the group that I did this all with, so you're also not totally wrong. So you were exposed to second-hand Kyle. I used to work at a motel doing the night audit. There was a Papa John's across the street, and in a I scratch your back you scratch mine agreement they would deliver me a 10-inch pizza for $1 as often as I liked. I would tip $1 to the driver, and suggest Papa John's to any patrons looking for a bite to eat. Smart Papa John's franchisee right there. I bought a McDonald's burger for this homeless guy near my old job. The guy was grateful, so he taught me how to make origami cranes and we became friends. Fast forward follow up. He got back on his feet and now has a nice apartment and a really annoying, yappy dog. Teaches craft classes at a local community center. He teaches crafts. That is, his dog doesn't teach. That'd be silly. That'd be awesome. A full evening's entertainment. I'd bet my friend $1 he wouldn't break into our university's football stadium. He did. But he did so right in front of a security guard, who then proceeded to chase him around, flashlight waving the whole time, in full view of the rest of us outside a fence. This chase went on for probably 5 minutes, through the stands, and across the field. My buddy came flying out a different fence, but ripped his pants open in the process, sharp top to the chain link. So he was then running down the street away from a frustrated security guard while giving said guard the full moon, if unintentionally. Anyways, that led to getting beers while watching cop cars drive around the neighborhood slowly. I can only assume looking for a guy with no ass to his pants. Totally worth $1. You can't buy entertainment that fun for 10 times the price. Okay, to preface this, we grew up really poor and every now and then we would go to this cheap store where everything is expired and my mom would let me and my siblings, there's 4 of us, had $1 to spend, and so we would try to make it count, and I think the most I ever got was a sucker, a Tootsie Roll, an apple juice box, and 8 gumballs. Sounds like a sweet fucking haul for $1. I traded a bunch of $1 coins for $2 coins when my little brother was dumb enough to believe that, because they were bigger, the $1 ones were worth more. Mine was led to think shininess was value. That's because he was the higher primate. McChicken with mac sauce. Didn't get charged for the mac sauce. Beautiful. Lived in Oregon for a while with no sales tax. Nice to be able to go in with $1 bill and walk out with a McChicken. Bought a raffle ticket for $1 and ended up winning an advent calendar of Jim Beam whiskers valued at $45. It was only 12 days worth, and I drank it all on the first day, got really drunk, and banged a chick who got pregnant, and now I'm in crippling debt because she had a baby and left me and filed for child support. Best $1 ever. I want to have a beer with you. That's how you get pregnant. Weren't you paying attention? A rather bossy loud woman came into our shop to talk to my brother. My 6-year nephew told her she needed to leave so he could finish his homework. She laughed and left. I gave my nephew $1 for getting her to leave. I didn't tell him why he got the dollar. Black Friday, the local animal shelter has a special any black dog or cat for a $1. Nephew buys a dog with his dollar. So $1. 1. Got rid of an annoyance. 2. Saved a dog's life. 3. Gave my nephew a great pet. 4. Annoyed the shit out of my brother because he really didn't want another dog at the house. How many dogs were there after the new one? Not $1 but 60p. Got me 2 donuts from Sainsbury's which I enjoyed with my mate when we went to a football match. Probably the most I've ever appreciated a food item. That 60p was literally all I had left in my bank account. If I'm ever down to my last dollar, I hope I can enjoy it on a nice donut. I have a friend who put like $1.50 into a CSGO skin jackpot back when CSGO gambling was a thing. He probably had 1% chance of winning, but he won the whole thing, like $100 to $200 of skins. So what did he do next? He put all of his winnings into a coin flip. 50/50 chance of either losing everything or coming out with double. He won. Seems like any rational person would stop there, but he did it again. He bet all $200 plus in another coin flip, and won again. If he had lost either of those coin flips he would have been back where he started, before entering the jackpot. At that point he finally decided to chill out a bit, now that he had $400 worth of skins. He spent the next few days doing coin flips for hundreds of dollars, not all of what he had, but parts of it, and eventually ended up with $1,000 plus worth of skins. I knew where he was doing coin flips, and would sometimes watch the guy put like $400 on the line. He was betting during class lol. He got greedy, though. He did bigger bets, and didn't slow down. About a day after his inventory had reached $1,000 in value he told me he had nothing left. He lost it all the same way he won it. All of this happened over the course of 2 to 4 days. What a wild ride that was, LMAO. I have a gaming friend that opened a case and got a $4K plus skin. I never opened crates after that, because I figured I had used my luck up by association. Time to put that stuff up on Steam and never have to pay for a video game again. When I was very young, around 6, I think, I was sitting on a curb trying and failing to play my new toy guitar when an old man put a dollar bill at my feet. I was absolutely flabbergasted and tried to give it back to him, but he explained he was tipping me. I was then introduced to the wonderful and lucrative world of busking, from which I have received lots of enjoyment and cash in recent years. I want to be an artist in a park working on pieces with a hat by my feet for tips, but my local park requires you to buy a permit to do that sort of thing and it's like $200. Is there a nearby park or other public place that doesn't have that requirement or at least is worse at enforcing it? I once used a single dollar to buy about 100 bottles of soda and $25 in quarters over the course of several weeks. There was a vending machine at my old school that dispensed sodas. They had it for 3 years. There was a flaw in the system. Basically, you could put a dollar in and quickly yank it without ripping it. If you timed it right, the system registered the dollar. For every 2 times you did this, you got 1 soda and 1 quarter for free. I did this 100 times in a row without getting caught by staff or students or fucking it up. I could have told the popular kids, or at least sold them vending machine soda at a reduced price for a profit. But fuck those guys. They bullied me very frequently. I was sad to see the vending machine was gone. When I came back for senior year, they claimed they got rid of it because it promoted unhealthy diets. But they still let us bring in outside soft drinks to class. You never let secrets out like this. Keep it to yourself and it lasts longer. There was a vending machine in my dorm that had a broken flap. You could reach your arm up and grab sodas pretty easily. That lasted for a year or so. Vending machine in my apartment's laundromat had a fluke too. Got my kid a bag of Skittles one day and it looked like it was about to be stuck. Banged on the machine to try to shake it out, and that wire/coil thing automatically twisted more and let 2 packs out. Banged on the machine again and it twisted more, letting out another pack. Bought a pack of cookies to see if the banging worked with everything. Got 3 more packs. For about 3 months, we got 3 of everything. It was not obvious to see the machine actually twisted the coil, pushing each product to the front each time you bang, so no empty spaces, like someone was stealing it. Preteen saw me do it, and I knew it was over. Sure enough, his whole family was at the vending machine when we were leaving. Only took a week for the machine to be out of order and replaced. Greed is awful. I mean, That kid just wanted to exploit the same flaw in the vending machine this guy did. It's stealing either way. Not to say I'd be above doing it myself. Cause I'd totally get a 3 for 1 every time. My great grandma used to give all of her great grandchildren $1 every time she saw us. It was a sweet gesture, and all of us great grandchildren would love seeing her and enjoying the free money. She's recently been moved to a nursing home due to the risk of falling, because her body is extremely weak. She's 95. I moved in with my boyfriend in August and went through my things while I packed. I found, concealed in a child's Bible, $1 wrapped in a note which read, "Dear baby, smile away. I can't wait until you're born. Here's your first $1. Make sure mommy keeps it. I love you very much." A few weeks later, my mom, sisters and I went to visit her in the home. As my mom is her primary caretaker, I pulled the $1 from my pocket and read the note aloud. My great grandma's eyes lit up and she beamed. "Oh wow, look at that, comma," she said. "I'm glad mommy didn't spend it all." It was a pretty priceless moment. That's wonderful. $92. Worked a coat check at an auction and we weren't supposed to have a tip jar. Well, someone placed an empty glass on the counter and eventually someone else thought it was a tip jar and started tipping. I said nothing. It got so full that I had to empty it. And then people no longer tipped because it was just an empty cup. Semicolon. So I put $1 back in, which made people assume it was a tip jar again, and then the tips came flowing again. Second wave of tips made $92. So putting $1 back in made me $92. Semicolon. I regret absolutely nothing. This is psychology. My sister learned this in class and used it when she worked a concession stand one summer. She threw $1 in and customers started tipping. I don't know if this counts, but I went to a local casino a few years ago and I was down to my last $2. I was halfway out the door defeated, but I walked by a row of cheap slots. I found a 20-line game at 1 penny per line. So I put the last of my money in the machine, and I had a decision to either bet 20 cents, 40 cents, 60 cents, 80 cents, $1 or $2. I only had enough money in there for one spin at maximum bet, but I kinda wanted to make what little money I had last. I decided at 40 cents a spin. To win the jackpot on this machine, you needed to get the top symbol, which was a race car I think, across an entire line for it to hit. The reels are spinning. It felt like slow motion. The 5 race cars landed across the center line. Some old guy sitting next to me who had been playing there starts freaking out. "You just hit the jackpot." I got really excited, but then the money stopped counting after $80. Turns out you needed to be playing maximum bet, $2 a spin, in order to trigger the jackpot. Instead I won $80 off a 0.40 cent wager. That's still a 20,000% return. Nice. 100 Swedish fish. My local public pool sold them by the penny. When I was a kid, my mom would send us in with enough money for admission. And if we were lucky enough that she gave a large bill to break for change, we'd go to the concession stand. Treats at home were rather scarce, so I cherished any candy I could get my hands on at the pool. It's one of my sweetest memories, in a literal and figurative sense. Played a game at a fundraiser that had £1 entry. Had to slide the coin as close to the bottle as possible. Ended up winning 1.5 liters of brand vodka. The following weekend me and some friends went camping for a few days. Safe to say, that bottle went to good use. Did this thing with scouts, where we were given a quid to buy something with, and then had to try and swap it for something better. Ended up with one of those VR headsets you put your phone in, a pair of glasses with a fake nose attached, more perfume sticks than any rational group of 16-year-olds could ever need, and a poster for a musical happening in the town that week.